If you're sick of not being able to hear anything else when you put your everyday headphones in, or they're falling out the second you move too fast when you're working out or anything like that, or if you're just looking for a top-class pair of earbuds, you need to check out Raycon. Their essential open earbuds work better than any headphones I've ever used. And that's them there. As you can see, use them all the time, every single day. This is my everyday headphone. And these sit just on the edge of your ear canal so that you can still hear what's going on around you. If you're out and about, you've got your podcast on or your music on, you can hear it perfectly, just as good, but it doesn't cancel everything else out. And I've literally seen people walk out in front of cars before because they're not listening to what's going on around. Like, this is actually going to potentially save people's lives at this point. And the sound quality is great. I wear these if I'm going to the gym or for a walk, or even if I'm just sitting around the house. And in this case, you get 36 hours of charge with 8 hours of playtime in the headphones themselves. So you aren't going to get better than that. And there's also multi-point connection on these so that you can switch between your phone, your laptop, whatever your device you're on. It is seamless. And that'll be why they've got over 3 million customers with a 30-day guarantee to just try them out. So if you want to get a great pair of headphones, click the link in the description below now. Go to buyraycon.com/thepaingameopen and you'll get 15% off when you use our link. So big thanks to Raycon for the great headphones. I absolutely love them. And big thanks to all of you lot who do click that link because you're helping us make more videos. Well, I never thought I would make another Conor McGregor fight video, but here we are. Subscribe if you're new. And it's going to be so weird to watch him make that walk again after all these years. It's been 5 years since we last seen him fight. In a fight career, that's a long time. You can go from a good fighter to a shit fighter in 5 years when you're competing, let alone out of the cage. And one thing that's hit me this week is the lack of major reaction to the Conor McGregor return announcement. I'm not saying like nobody's talking about it at all. Like, people are talking about it, but just the diehard fight fans really, not the wider mainstream media. Like, when McGregor fights were announced, like when he was in his prime, the whole fucking world was talking about it. Now it's like, it's a big fight for the UFC. It's getting more traction, but like, still just the UFC crowd. And this isn't me having a go at McGregor, by the way. Like, this is just the reaction is the reaction, right? Like, you can all say it, I'm sure. If you look at, creators talking about this, the numbers are comparable to their other videos. Whereas in his prime, when you talked about Conor McGregor, the video was doing 5 times, 10 times the views. That's not happening anymore. That's just a fact. And to be fair to McGregor, that might not be down to him. It might also be down to the UFC itself. Are people even bothered about the UFC anymore? Take the recent middleweight title fight, Khamzat versus Strickland. Two of the biggest characters. You got Strickland, who'll say anything that comes into his fucking head, and Khamzat, who's, I kill everybody. In theory, that fight should be one of the biggest and best fights of the year for the UFC. And what we got was Khamzat struggling to keep Sean Strickland down. And when they were on their feet, it was a very shit kickboxing match, which, Strickland had the advantage of because he has got, for MMA standards, a good jab, meaning he knows how to throw one in MMA. And just, sloppy shit kickboxing, really. I mean, where's the dynamism? Where's the knockout power? Where's the real special techniques that way? It's just bang average, isn't it, man? It's fucking bang average. And it amazes me that so late in the day in the game of MMA, where you'd think the talent pool is growing because MMA is growing years and years after this sport should have developed. And yet it feels like the creativity, the moments of oh my God, I can't believe he did that, are so limited. Very rarely do I watch and go, wow, can't believe that. It's more just, all right, it's another one like this, is it? But maybe it is Conor McGregor in that the last time we seen him fight, the last 2 times we seen him fight, it wasn't impressive. So this is the third Poirier fight, and Poirier just starts getting after it. Stick it right on him. Lovely backhand there, and another one. Backs McGregor up, and another one. And McGregor he has to hold on here. And McGregor is taken down with ease, and he's put on his back. And at that point, Poirier gets him down and starts smashing him to bits. Poirier was just roughing him up here, and it was going downhill quicker than the fight he knocked McGregor out. It was getting really bad for McGregor. This is before the leg break even happens. And obviously this was the fight before that where Dustin just went through McGregor, he broke him down, beat his leg up, and then knocked him out cold. No matter how big of a star you are, performances like that don't make fight fans want to watch you more. But again, I don't think this is all McGregor's fault. Also, the way the UFC announced this thing.
11th International Fight Week in the main event. Max Max Holloway versus Conor McGregor. Brownlaw versus Whitaker on the prelims.
I love how he just straight into the next fight as well. Like, it doesn't even let it hang. He's not like, Conor McGregor returns to the earth. Nothing like that. Not even a shred of enthusiasm. And look, there's a lot of jokes made about how Dana White is just going through the fucking motions now, and he really could give two shits. And like, how can anyone argue with it when you're announcing the biggest star in the history of the UFC returning after 5 years out of the cage, and it's just like he's reading a fucking shopping list. Yeah, I'm gonna get some eggs, some bacon. What are we doing here? Do we remember how they used to announce a Conor McGregor fight? They did this trailer for Aldo McGregor of them walking and meeting each other outside the MGM Grand. Stayed there, by the way. A new vlog out now, Vegas vlog, of McGregor and Aldo facing off, and then them all of a sudden in a cage. And like, shit that actually got us hyped as fight fans. Like, it was as if they cared about our experience back then. Not like, we get all the money from the TV broadcast deals anyway, we really don't give a shit about you lot anymore. And look, since the Dana White announcement, they've done a couple of little social media bits. But the point was, that was the first thing we heard from his mouth. Just casually, dropping it out there. Watch it if you want. And look, it doesn't necessarily have to be a huge production trailer, especially when the UFC use AI for everything these days anyway. But like, look at how Ryan Garcia recently announced his title fight with Conor Benn.
I'll just say his name, just because I love the show. His name is Conor Benn.
Wow.
Yes. And he's talking a lot. He's talking crazy.
He's talking a lot.
He's talking a lot.
This is the point. You go on that show, you got your belt, you give meaning to the championship that you're competing for. The kid looks $1 million. He's on a mainstream national TV show. He's appealing to a wide audience, and he wants the mainstream to talk about it. And they are, because he's done this. It's not rocket science. I haven't seen the mainstream really give two shits about this McGregor comeback at all. So like, it's just a shame that the buzz is not what it used to be. And look, one thing they could have done is made a fight that everyone was familiar with, that everyone's been demanding even for the last 10 years. In Nate Diaz versus Conor McGregor 3. Apparently Nate was in negotiations. I don't know, maybe they didn't give him the fucking money he wanted. And ironically, he went and fought on Jake Paul's card against Mike Perry and got splattered and looked terrible. I'm watching him get the fuck beaten out of him going, if I'm Conor McGregor, I'm thinking, I wish we made this fight, because that would have been the perfect reintroduction for McGregor back into the UFC against a nice, vulnerable, tender fighter in Nate Diaz, who's taken so many beatings. He's just there to be hit. That would have been a much better first fight back for Conor McGregor than fucking Max Holloway. He is a way bigger test in the cage, and he's nowhere near the level of Nate Diaz. So it's another fumble from the UFC. Are we surprised? Fuck no. And look, I'm not trying to be negative about McGregor. We all know what he was like in his prime. This was outrageous, right? To finish a fighter who was undefeated for a decade, a world champion in Jose Aldo, a Hall of Famer, in 13 fucking seconds. It was like nothing we'd ever seen before. And the fact that he even fucking predicted it. The Mystic Mac name, the whole thing, the aura. In my entire life, I've never seen a fighter have so much momentum, so much buzz around them. It was a once-in-a-lifetime experience, that whole McGregor era. For him to then move up to 155 and just pick Eddie Alvarez apart with such ease. I mean, becoming the champ, this whole thing that he created, we'd never seen nothing like it, right? I'm not taking anything away from how great he was. Fighters weren't punching with that level of accuracy. Most of them. We had the odd fighter who could punch with that level of accuracy, like an Anderson Silva, who could move, you know. Lyoto Machida had great footwork, for example. But putting it all together like that, it was impressive. And I think a prime versus prime Holloway and McGregor would have been an unbelievable fight. Ironically, they fought right at the start of their career, pretty much in the UFC, and now they're fighting right at the end of their careers. I think Holloway was about 22 here, and you can see McGregor's very dynamic here, light on his feet, you know, throwing up creative strikes from outside of range. And to be honest, I think this was a way too soon for Max Holloway. McGregor's very confident in there. He's still giving some back, Holloway, but Holloway has evolved a hell of a lot since then. And McGregor actually got better from here as well. But that, you know, leaping in with the uppercut and then the left hook, I felt like McGregor was just on another level, and he got the decision. But the problem was he actually blew his knee out in the middle of the fucking fight, and you had to take him down just to make sure he could finish the fight. Now, this is last year for Max Holloway, right? Like, he is wobbling Dustin Poirier, who, remember, beat the shit out of Conor McGregor. And Dustin had aged a little bit by it now, but you can't take away what Max is doing here. Like, you know, yes, Max has lost some fights. The point is very recently, he's beaten up elite level guys, and he's, I mean, fucking hell, like, this is mental, by the way. And look, none of us will ever forget this fucking moment. The BMF belt, Justin Gaethje, just dogging it out with him in the ring, in the middle of the cage, and he flatlines him. One of the most epic moments in MMA history. Crazy from Max Holloway. And look, Max has had his own setbacks. Look, this was the fight against Ilia Topuria, where he got smashed with a straight backhand there. And Topuria relentlessly followed him around the cage, chased that finish down, and secured, you know, another name on an unbelievable resume as he knocked him out with I think it was a left hook here. Bang, fucking get down, yeah. Unbelievable finish. And Max did struggle with very specific things with Ilia Topuria, which Conor McGregor will look at and go, well, I've got a bit of that. Whether that's reality now, after 5 years out of the cage doing all sorts of shit, who knows? Ilia chopped the legs a lot and slowed Max down. And then when he was in range, used very good head movement, took his head off the center line, and Max struggled to handle the power. But let's not forget, this was at 145 pounds. This fight is going to be at 170 pounds, which does change what version of Max we're going to get here. He might hit harder, and he might be able to absorb the power better at 170. But ultimately, that fight was volume versus power, and power won, and that's what McGregor's going to be thinking. I got that power, I can win. But it is a 5-round fight, so if you don't get him out of there, and you know, you haven't had a fight in 5 years, and you're going 5 fucking rounds with Max Holloway, I got to give credit to McGregor. That's fucking crazy. That is pretty serious, that, like. Tyson Fury will have a year out of the ring, and he'll have a soft touch for a comeback fight. 5 years, and you go in there with one of the best in the world. That's balls, that. So I'll give McGregor credit for that. Holloway hasn't been as active as he used to be, but, you know, in the last few years, he's fought Oliveira, Dustin Poirier, Topuria, Gaethje. Best in the world, all of them. And look, maybe that's taken a bit out of Holloway. Maybe the damage, the wear and tear from all the training and the fact that he has been knocked out. Maybe McGregor's looking at him going, he's not fresh. I'm fresh. You know what he's like in his head. I'm fresh. He may think, well, I haven't been going through hell. I'll actually be able to take more shots than you. I'll actually be able to handle this better. But I'll tell you now, Max Holloway will not struggle to do 5 rounds. McGregor in his prime struggled with 5 rounds. We remember him against Nate Diaz taking rounds off and shit like that, just breathing out of his arse after the second round. McGregor basically had about 8 to 9 minutes to get you out of there. Otherwise, he wasn't going to get you out of there. I can't imagine what that number is going to be after 5 years sitting on a fucking boat getting off his face. And I say this because we used to get McGregor highlight reels of him knocking people out made regularly. Now the McGregor highlight reel is Conor McGregor being coked up for 16 minutes. And that picture of him, I've got to click on it. Fucking hell.
I'm blessed to have entered into the movie alongside him. He was patient with me. He gave me guidance, and I just took it. You know, we had a good rapport on set. He has 75 movies made. I have 75 bar fights made. And that's it.
You know what, though? Like, this is the thing about McGregor. And the reason McGregor ever came at me is because I pointed out his clear problems with drugs. And maybe if his friends had been, you know, saying this shit to him, he wouldn't have taken to heart what I was saying. Everyone in the fucking MMA community was saying it, if we're being honest. If this helps him get clean and rededicate himself and become a better version of himself, then good for him. Still think he's a bit of a knob. But I don't wish bad on anyone. And some people, fighters especially, often need a reason to get clean, a reason to be, you know, fit and healthy. And this might be the best thing for them. Unfortunately, sometimes they go in the ring, get their asses kicked and then go back on to their old ways. But hopefully that's not the case if that happens. And it's very hard to say what version of McGregor we're going to get. It'll not be like anything we've seen before, I wouldn't imagine, because 5 years out of the ring, at his age, he's going to be 38 by the time he fights. And, you know, he looks all right here, but like, there's no one hitting him back here, and you can't really see the speed difference or, you know, having to do 5 5-minute rounds. This is anyone's guess guess what he's going to look like. And I would imagine significantly slower is what my prediction would be. I would not expect McGregor's speed after 5 minutes to hold up. Whereas Max Holloway, been fighting regularly, is 34, lived a clean life. This guy just sits in games and streams, you know. He's not doing the bad shit that McGregor's put his body through. And I'm not even talking about the leg injury, man. We see in Chris Weidman, Anderson Silva, they were never the same after such a brutal leg break. McGregor relies on his movement, right? If you're not able to get that in and out movement to hit and not get hit, which was a lot of what McGregor did. Yes, he got hit, but he minimized the damage as best as he could through the footwork. He's never been a plodder like a Nate Diaz who just takes a beating to give a beating. And we've seen with Dustin Poirier, when it was time to take the beating, Dustin took the beating, McGregor couldn't. And he went downhill very quickly. He could be the hammer, he couldn't be the nail for very long. And I'm thinking after 5 years of sitting on that boat, getting off your face, is your ability to take a beating going to be better or worse? Probably fucking worse. And look, there's always that one shot with a guy like Max Holloway, who is naturally bigger and stronger than, if he can land that shot, he could switch the lights out on Max Holloway and shock the world. And if there's anyone who I'd say maybe he could fucking do it, it's a man with an ego like McGregor and the talent of McGregor. Because again, the talent is ridiculous. And for the UFC, they're dreaming of that, by the way. They're the best case scenarios. He goes in there, smokes Max Holloway, gives the king is back promo, and he calls out Ilia Topuria. They make the next mega fucking fight in UFC history. That's if the UFC still give a shit. I kind of don't really know anymore. But if they did care, that's the dream scenario. What should happen is Max Holloway goes in there, keeps McGregor at range for as long as possible. Max Holloway doesn't even have to trade with McGregor. He has to keep away from him early on. Barely engage until you're around the 8, 9, 10 minute mark, because McGregor will just deteriorate in front of your very eyes. He always has, let alone now. It's a guarantee. If Max Holloway sees the 10th minute of that fight, he is winning that fight by stoppage, in my opinion. I don't see a world in which Conor McGregor can make it to the 25th minute of a fight after the way he's treated his body, after his notorious, ironic problems in training camps and taking things seriously and being fit enough at that point. He moved heaven and earth to train for that Nate Diaz rematch, and yet even still he was breathing out of his arse in the 25th minute. At 38 years old, the way he's abused his body, I'll be stunned if he sees the 25th minute. So yeah, Max Holloway should fuck this guy up, is what I'm saying. That's what should happen. But what if it doesn't? It'll be fucking mental. It'll be great for the fight game. It'll be fun. It'll be exciting. And I'd be entertained. I can't even lie. But what do you lot think? Will this fight reignite the fire of UFC fans in the UFC again, get us all excited again? Will this get the same level of viewership as McGregor's prime pay-per-view fights? I mean, it doesn't feel like it right now, and especially when there's only 6 weeks to go roughly until this fight happens, and yet I'm not seeing that level of excitement. But let me know what you lot think in the comments below. I'll try and do a couple of more videos on this fight if we get any interesting interviews, press conferences, that sort of shit. But hit the like button if you haven't already, subscribe to The Pain Game. I'll see you on the next one.